The anime begins with Nanako running to see Eiji before school, and although she only managed to see his back, that makes her happy. In class, the teacher asks Nanako if she can solve a math problem, although he quickly recalls that she cannot speak, so he tells her that she can write her answer. But Nanako is honest and writes that she didn't understand the class, and she does it in a special way, writing it in the form of a poem. At lunch, the man at the cafeteria offers her a lot of options, which confuses Nanako, so her friend tells the man that she will has the usual one. After lunch, Nanako runs to the classroom to take Eiji to the literature club. On their way, he says his look scares everyone and she signals to him that he should smile more, so he introduces himself to Nanako's friend to make a good first impression, but his smile makes him look like a monster. Upon arriving at the literature club, Eiji tells President Amain that he managed to talk to someone other than Nanako, but the girl ran away scared of him. Then Amain suggests that he speak like Nanako, writing Senryuu. After that, Amain says that today's club activity will be writing Senryuu with the April theme, but Eiji is having a hard time following the theme, so Nanako helps him. Later, the two walk home together and Nanako asks him when he started reciting Senryuu like her, and he says he always had a flowy rhythm even when he fought. At that moment, some boys from other schools run away scared when they see him. He used to be called the Beast of the West in middle school because he had a short temper and got into fights. Then Eiji says that it is not good for others to see her with him because that will damage her reputation. This angers Nanako, so she writes him a Senryu, which says she doesn't care what others say as long as she is with him. He blushes and tells her that what she wrote is what girls say to their crushes, which makes Nanako red. Upon arriving home, Nanako's brother asks her if it is true that a thug joined her literature club, and she smilingly writes about Eiji. Days later, while Eiji was sleeping in class, a pink-haired girl comes into his classroom to give him his gym clothes. She is so beautiful that she makes everyone drool. After that, Eiji goes to the literature club and Amain announces that the club's activity will be to help Eiji become more likable. He tries to write Senryuu about his good qualities, but nothing comes to mind. Then Nanako writes that when he thinks too much, his eyes roll back and maybe that scares people. Then Amain asks Nanako what Eiji's qualities are, and she explains that he always gives her a better part of a donut or gives her the glass with more water. Suddenly, the pink-haired girl enters the club and starts caressing Eiji's dark circles. She is Kodo, Eiji's childhood friend. She is only 2 years older than him, but she acts like a sweet older sister. After class, Nanako and Eiji go to eat something and she asks him if he has a girlfriend or someone special, and he tells her no, although they both blush. Nanako has a big appetite, so Eiji playfully tells her that she will gain weight if she eats more. The next day, Nanako decides to start dieting, so she asks Amain how to do it, but she suspects that she wants to impress Eiji, so Nanako seeks help from Kodo. But the pink-haired girl also realizes that it is because of Eiji, so she decides to help her. First, they start with sit-ups, although Nanako can barely do them, which Kodo finds adorable. Then she teaches her wrestling, and when Eiji asks why they are training, Kodo mysteriously tells him that this is for him, and Eiji mistakenly thinks that Nanako wants to twist his neck. A week later, Nanako surprises Eiji by taking his hand and putting it on her stomach to make him feel how flat it is, and he blushingly says that he has never touched a girl's stomach, which leaves them both red. Outside the club room, Amain spies on them and tells Kodo. Then on the way home, Amain asks her if she likes anyone and she doesn't want to answer, and just says that she's happy being an older sister. The next day, Amain brings a new topic to make Senryuu, memories in amusement parks. Eiji writes about the tantrums he used to throw while he and his dad stood in line for the rides, while Nanako writes about the tantrums she used to throw to avoid leaving the amusement park, and Amain writes about a failed date with a handsome boy, and that gives Nanako the idea of going to the amusement park as a club activity, and Amain quickly accepts, advising them to go well-dressed. On the way home, Eiji thinks about what to wear and runs into Toko. She knows that they are going to the amusement park and jokes that she will go too, but then teases him by saying that she won't go so he can flirt freely with Nanako. Meanwhile, at home, Nanako is busy choosing her outfit, and that stresses her dad out because he thinks the most painful moment for every dad has arrived. Her daughter is going to an amusement park with a boy. The next day, Nanako and Eiji arrive first, and to their surprise, Amain sends them a text saying that she won't go, but in reality, she just wants to spy on them. First, Nanako puts on bunny ears and makes Eiji wear them too, then they go on the roller coaster, and although the extreme rides make him dizzy, he keeps going on to make Nanako happy. After that, they run into the park's mascot, and he gives Eiji a kiss, and that upsets Nanako because the rabbit stole Eiji's first kiss. So to make up for it, she buys a drink with straws intertwined like a heart, and they both drink it under the watchful eyes of Amain and Kodo, who can't resist such tenderness and takes a photo of them. Afterwards, they continue enjoying the different attractions until the sun sets, and Eiji says it's time to go home. But Nanako says that she can't walk home because her shoelace broke, and instead of picking up the signal that she wants to continue spending time with him, Eiji laughs saying that she doesn't have shoelaces, earning a scolding from Amain and Kodo, who couldn't help but come out of their hiding place. Days later, Eiji feels that someone is following him. Nanako thinks it is a ghost, and Amain says that maybe he has a stalker or a girl who wants to ask him out on a date. That puts a smile on his face, and even more so when Amain says that it might be a pale girl with straight black hair. Then, Nanako asks Eiji what he would do if a girl asked him on a date, and he said that he would reject her if the girl asked him out of the blue, and Nanako almost wrote a Senryu about what he would do if she asked him on a date, but she realizes it in time and breaks her blackboard. On the way home, Nanako is super alert trying to find Eiji's stalker, until near a convenience store, they catch the stalker. But it was all a misunderstanding. She was just a shy girl who communicates by drawing. It turns out that a few days ago, Eiji dropped his handbook, and the girl has been chasing him to return it, but he always walks very fast. Eiji sincerely thanks her and invites her to spend time with them at the literature club. The next day, the shy girl goes to the club room and introduces herself using her canvas. She is Kino, and like Nanako, she also has difficulty speaking, so both girls become friends. Then it occurs to Amain that Kino can rank their drawing skills, since she is very good. But Eiji says that Amain shouldn't draw because she only draws things, so she will be the model and Eiji, and Nanako will be the illustrators. After a while, Eiji and Nanako show their drawing. He drew Amain with a sinister smile, and she drew her super cute. Kino then says that she needs them to draw something else so she can rank them, and Amain suggests that they both draw each other. Nanako draws Eiji from memory while he stares at her, making her blush. Then, they both show their drawings again. He drew Nanako with a sinister smile, and she drew Eiji super cute, so Kino decides to give 100 points to each of them. 5 days later, Amain begins to comb her hair outlandishly because a psychic advised her to do so. That catches Nanako's attention, so Amain gives her the address where the psychic puts her fortune-telling booth every Sunday. On Sunday, Eiji accompanies Nanako, and in line, they see Kodo. She teases them by saying that they seem to be on a date, and then whispers to Nanako that she can ask the psychic about love compatibility. That makes Nanako very red, but she listens to her and asks the psychic about the compatibility between her and Eiji. And although he does not believe in all this, he listens carefully to the result. Unfortunately, according to the psychic, Nanako and Eiji are totally incompatible. This angers Eiji, and he says that it is impossible and demands an explanation, and luckily he realizes that the psychic made a mistake when writing their names, so she offers them a new reading, but Nanako refuses because Eiji's reaction to the misreading was perfect. So they leave, and the psychic decides to read their compatibility anyway, and just as she suspected, they are destined to be together. The next day, Eiji and Nanako meet the psychic at school. It turns out that she is Tao and is a student like them. She says that in reward for yesterday, she will read their fortune for the day. She tells Nanako that everything will turn out well for her today, while she advises Eiji to not go out or he will receive a lightning to the heart. And that scares Nanako because the day is cloudy, but Eiji repeats that he doesn't believe in fortune telling, so he takes her to a vintage arcade. There he wants to teach her how to play pool, but when he explains it to her using Senryuu, he sounds really bad because he keeps using the words stick and balls incorrectly. Then they go to the skating rink where he teaches her how to skate by holding her hands and making her blush. And they don't realize that they are being watched by Tao and Amain, who is now blonde, so Tao tells her that she probably spelled her name wrong and asks her to stop messing with her hair. At the end of the day, Tao thinks that she was wrong about Eiji until he and Nanako are having a soda, and as she sweats a lot, she takes off her shirt, revealing that she has big breasts, something Eiji had never noticed, and it's like his brain and heart short-circuited. So Tao says she wasn't entirely wrong. Days later, Nanako makes plans for the weekend. After that, she and Eiji go to the literature club and show their pet's pics to Amain. Nanako has a cat, and he has a chubby rabbit. His pet is so cute that Nanako wants to meet it, and Eiji almost invites her to go to his house, but he realizes that maybe his parents would think she's his girlfriend, so he says he'll take Agu to the park tomorrow. The next day, Nanako's father wakes up early to read the newspaper and reads about the rebellious phase of teenagers. The first clue that parents have to be alert for is when a teenager ignores her parents, but Mr. Yukishiro is not worried because his daughter always smiles at him. But when Nanako wakes up, he greets her and she passes him by. Mr. Yukishiro immediately thinks that her daughter has entered her rebellious phase, without realizing that Nanako did not see him because she was not wearing her contact lenses, and she did not hear him because she was wearing her earplugs. Later, Mr. Yukishiro blames himself for the distance with his daughter, so he goes to her room to talk to her, but no matter how much he knocks on her door, Nanako does not open it. That scares him even more, because according to the newspaper, rebellious teenagers lock themselves in their rooms. But he is wrong because Nanako went to the park. Soon she meets Eiji, Agu the rabbit, and Hanabi, Eiji's little sister. The little girl is delighted to meet the famous Nanako since Eiji talks about her all the time, and not only that, Eiji once told her that his two favorite things are the Senryus and Nanako, and that revelation makes both of them blush. Meanwhile, Mr. Yukishiro asks his son about Nanako, and he tells him that she once went to the amusement park with a thug, and that scares the man so much that he thinks his daughter is about to become a troublemaker. His wife thinks he is exaggerating, and she says the rebellious phase of a teenager is normal, and they should let her follow her own path. But Mr. Yukishiro feels that his world is falling apart and decides to cut off relations with his daughter, the troublemaker who is currently with a thug, even though it breaks his heart. On the other hand, Nanako spends some quality time with Eiji, Hagu, and Hanabi, and when he leaves to look for a waste bag for the rabbit's poop, Hanabi asks Nanako if she is her brother's girlfriend, and Nanako writes that she is not his girlfriend, but she likes that other around them see her as such. After that, she says goodbye to them because she has to go to her friend's house. Later, when she gets home, she gives a cake to her dad saying that she loves him, and that softens the man's heart, and he realizes that he was wrong all along. His cute daughter was making him a cake because today is Father's Day. Days later, a big storm hits the city, and Nanako tells Amain she doesn't like the rain because it fluffs her hair. But Amain says that if a boy and a girl share an umbrella in the rain, they will be together forever. Then Amain suggests to Nanako that she try it with Eiji, and she listens to her and asks him if they can walk home together today, and he agrees. Unfortunately for Nanako, the rain stops immediately and the sun shines high in the sky. After school, Nanako and Eiji are called to fix the hutch since the storm knocked down a tree on it. She is happy to help him, but Tao comes to warn them that according to her predictions, Eiji is going to screw up in the end, so he asks her to stay and help them to avoid that disastrous future. But it all starts off badly because Eiji gets thorned by hundreds of splinters from the tree, so he has to run to the infirmary where Kodo helps him, and then the two go back to helping with the hutch. Kino also comes to help and redesigns the hutch into a modern rabbit house, but the others think that the previous design was fine, so they rebuild the hutch and everything seems to be going well until Tao's prediction comes true. Because of Eiji, the rabbits escape. Fortunately, Amain is allowed to use the school microphone to ask all the students to help catch all the rabbits. After that, Nanako reminds Eiji that he promised to walk her home, and as if the sky heard her, it starts to rain, and she asks him to share his umbrella, but he says he didn't bring one. All of this is overheard by Amain, who won't let her plan go to waste, so she lies that she has two umbrellas and gives them hers so they can both walk home together under the rain. Weeks later, the summer is near and Amain can't wait to buy a new swimsuit, so she asks Tao to accompany her to buy one that will make her more desirable, and Nanako and Kino also go because they don't have one. Later, Eiji comes home and finds Kodo in his room wearing a revealing bikini, but he refuses to look at her, so she laughs and goes to wait for him in the living room because she wants to take Hanabi to the pool. Meanwhile, at the swimsuit shop, Tao shows Amain a swimsuit that will make her very desirable, but it consists of only straps. It is so immoral that it makes Nanako blush. So she goes away to buy a cuter one that suits her taste and chooses a swimsuit that looks more like a dress, so Amain advises her to look for a more daring one that will make Eiji's heart skip a beat. After shopping, Amain suggests going to the pool to wear their new swimsuits, and despite Tao's recommendation, Amain bought a more conservative bikini, Kino bought a cute one, and Tao bought one with oversized padding. The three wait for Nanako to show them hers, but she takes a while to get out because her bikini is very daring and she had not shown so much skin in her entire life. Eiji appears with Hanabi and Kodo. He can't help but stare at Nanako, so she runs to hide, and he apologizes profusely and says he'll try to be on the other side of the pool. But that's not what Nanako wants, so she comes out of hiding and writes to him that he can look at her if he wants, but he shouldn't stay away from her, although she puts her Tanzaku so close to his face that he can't look at her. Days later, Mr. Yukishiro tells his daughter he would like to meet his friend, and that makes Nanako blush, which scares her dad because he had never seen her blush for a boy. Then Nanako sends Eiji a text, but he can't read it because he drops his cell phone in a bowl of soup, so he takes it to fix it and the mechanic says it will take a day to fix it. Then Eiji walks the streets thinking what to do and runs into Kodo, who is working part-time. He also sees Amain, who acts adultly studying in a cafeteria. Then he runs into Tao, who feels embarrassed that he sees her eating alone during summer break, and finally he runs into Kino, who was concentrating on looking at a mailbox, but when he sees her canvas, drawing was a gorilla. After that, he walks along the river thinking about how he has met many people except Nanako, and that makes him feel strange. Suddenly, a hat covers his face and Nanako appears. He is so happy to see her that he almost says he missed her, but he manages to stop himself before finishing the sentence. But Nanako is clever and gets out of him what he was about to say, and he accepts that he missed her. Then Nanako gets happy and tells him that her dad wants to meet him, and Eiji, very scared, goes home with her. Mr. Yukishiro begins to interrogate him as soon as he enters the house, and Eiji gets so nervous that he ends up answering a question wrong, and the man thinks that they have already slept together. Then Eiji clarifies that they are just friends, which angers Nanako, and that expression on his daughter's face makes Mr. Yukishiro faint. Then Nanako takes her father to his room, and her mother tells Eiji that her husband is overprotective of Nanako because when she was a child, kids used to make fun of her for communicating using Senryuu. But one day, she came back from school happy because a boy recited Senryuu like her and told them that she would like to spend time with that boy. Eiji knows that Mrs. Yukishiro is talking about him, so he blushes and runs away from the house. The summer is almost over, so Amain organizes a club outing to watch fireflies since it is something that Nanako wants. But in reality, it is one of her plans to match Nanako and Eiji. At night, Amain, Eiji, Nanako, Tao, and Kino meet in the forest, and Amain says that first they have to go through the haunted tunnel to reach the pond, and that scares Nanako, so Eiji says that he will protect her using correct techniques. During the walk, Tao and Kino try to scare them using their predictions and drawings since Amain asked them to. When they reach the tunnel, Amain mysteriously disappears, which scares Tao, but they still continue walking. Then the tunnel lights start to flicker and Kino disappears too. Nanako is so scared that Eiji hugs her, but the worst hasn't happened yet. Suddenly, a girl dressed in white appears and catches Tao. Then Eiji grabs Nanako's hand and runs her out of the tunnel, and Amain, Kino, Tao, and Kodo were waiting for them outside. Kodo came dressed as a ghost to scare them since Amain asked her to. So Amain says that it was a test of courage, which every high school student must do once in their life, although she is happy because Nanako and Eiji seem closer than ever. After that, they arrive at the pond where hundreds of fireflies delight them with their bright green color, and Eiji proposes to recite Senryuu over them, and Nanako almost wrote that she is happy to live this moment by his side, but she blushes and runs away from Eiji when he tries to read it. On the last night of summer break, Amain, Eiji, and Nanako meet at the summer festival to watch the fireworks, although Amain thinks that her match plans with Nanako and Eiji have worked too well since she feels like the third wheel between the two of them. Nanako and Eiji have fun at food stalls and games like a couple, so much so that when Eiji wins a glow-in-the-dark toy ring, he puts it on her finger as if they were getting engaged, and she makes him promise to watch the fireworks together. Later, the three of them sit down to rest, and Nanako tells them that her parents' first date was at the summer festival. It was so romantic that her dad gave her mom a peony. Eiji doesn't understand the meaning of peonies, so Amain says that the literature club will do a class on the meaning of flowers next month. After that, Amain and Eiji go to pee, but they take so long that the fireworks are about to start, and one of Nanako's classmates sees her alone on the bench and takes her to her group of friends. Then Nanako sends Amain a text telling her what happened to her, and Eiji runs to find her. Unfortunately, the fireworks start and Nanako can't help but cry because Eiji is not with her. Meanwhile, Eiji runs everywhere pushing many people looking for Nanako until he sees her shiny ring and finally finds her when a peony-shaped firework explodes in the sky. Nanako is very happy to see him, and her classmates ask him if they are dating, but Eiji says that they only promise to watch the fireworks together, which makes the girls laugh because it is something that couples do. On the first day of school of the new term, Eiji and Nanako go up to the roof to have lunch alone. Nanako asks Eiji if he remembers how they met, and he is so clueless that he barely remembers how it happened, so she remembers for both of them. It turns out that last year at Christmas, Eiji went to a poetry workshop where old people recited Senryuu, and the only girl was Nanako. She wrote her Senryuu but was not able to explain them, and Eiji's were very strange, although Nanako liked them so much that she applauded him. At the end, Nanako writes again to Eiji that she liked his Senryuu, and he thanks her and tells her that he doesn't care if she can't communicate normally because he likes Senryuu. That night, Nanako returned happily to her house and spent days thinking about Eiji, and her mom, happy to see her out of her room for the first time in years, advised her to continue going to the poetry workshop. But the old lady of the workshop said that Eiji did not return even though he leaves his senryus on the communal blackboard every week. So Nanako decided to answer Eiji's senryus by writing her senryus as well. The weeks passed and they became friends via senryus until one day she wrote to him that they should meet again when the cherry trees bloom, and he accepted. In spring, Nanako stopped by the poetry workshop and took out her first Senryu to go meet Eiji, but the old lady said that she hasn't seen Eiji for weeks and maybe he moved out of the city. That scares Nanako because she never told Eiji that thanks to him she left her room and has been happy for weeks. But her fears were unfounded because Eiji was waiting for her at the cherry blossom tree, although he didn't recognize her at first sight, so she showed him her Senryu and the rest is history.